Now, we on Adam? Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody to lead generation class. So when I started here on January 3rd, okay, I got to pick, and all the classes that I do, pretty much I pick. In other words, there's no real syllabus. There's no national Keller Williams standards that I kind of follow. It's pretty much up to me and what I decide to teach on these classes, okay? So think about it. Here I am coming into a brand new organization. The very first class that I teach is lead generation. Okay. Lead generation is everything to us. Many of you, about 85 to 90% of you, met with me as your first contact here at Keller Williams. Okay. And I did the interview, and you came in through that way. Okay. And as I told each and every one of you, I'm very consistent, if nothing else, with my approach. 80% of agents fail. Why? What are the two reasons why new agents fail within their first year?
They fail to generate leads.
Very good. Good, you picked that up. Very good. Training and lack of lead generation. Okay? They're the number one and number two. 1 year from today, I hope to have every single one of you in one of my training classes, or we're walking down the hall talking to each other. But the truth is, even in Keller Williams nationally, our number is about 40%. People do not make it within a 1 year period. Now, we don't want to start off with scare tactics early in the morning, but it is important that you understand that precedent. Because at the end of the day, I am never going to be your boss, your supervisor, anything of that nature. All I am is your coach, and I help you, right? And the thing is, at the end of the day, it does help. Thank you. Thank you. Got it. Thank you. Cool. And at the end of the day, essentially what it is I could basically teach you a lot of things. I could lead you to water. But if you don't drink, you don't drink, right? Okay? I can make your mouth salty, but I can't make you drink. The truth of the matter is, lead generation is everything in this industry. Okay? If you don't learn how to lead generate and find your poison, if you will, you won't be here. That's the reality of the situation, guys and girls. Okay? A little bold, a little strong coming off very early in the morning here, but I want you to understand that. So again, think about this. Here I am coming into a brand new organization with 195 agents. I get to pick my very first class right out of the gate. What do I pick? Lead generation. Kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it? Okay. So again, as we go through this, for a large amount of you that are new in this class, what we're going to do is we're going to pass around a little sign-up sheet that just has your name and your email, and I will send you these PowerPoint decks when we're done. So you don't have to keep so many notes. Joel, pen? Good? Okay. Okay. So again, basically when we go through this, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Fire away. As we went around early this morning, we saw basically that we have anywhere from a almighty day number 1 or day number half to what my extreme veteran in this room is about 3 months in. So we have a relatively young class today. Okay? Kind of puts it in perspective at the end of the day. The very first class that I did, who the heck was I? This is how long ago that I officially did the classes. But by the way, there's my girls and my wife. Okay. So enjoy the journey even more than the destination. It's daily change. So what's going to happen is, by raise of hands, how many people here have sales backgrounds? 1, I got 2, I got 2.5, I got 3.5, I got 3 1/4, going to 4, okay? The point is, with sales, for some of you who are familiar with sales, there's no such thing as a silver bullet or a magic bullet, okay? We're all looking for that great whale, somebody to land, right? But the truth is, every single day, when we're talking about prospecting, networking, lead generation. Eventually we'll get to something called e-edge, which some of you are familiar with and some have no idea what I'm talking about. What's going to happen is you're going to just be consistent. It's like knocking your head against the wall sometimes. But when it pays off, it's going to pay off. Okay? But it's consistency all throughout. This is not a race. As we all know back in the day, who won the race? The turtle did, not the hare. Okay? So let's go through some real type of stuff. Leads are the currency of real estate. My background, as some of you know and don't know, is I have done equal amount of commercial real estate, new home sales, and residential, along with investment properties. And the whole thing is, at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff, boys and girls. Leads and the people that are coming in is what makes or breaks you in every one of those different disciplines within our industry. Okay? Again, 80% of agents fail in their first year. We talked about that lead generation. So there's two types of leads overall. There are paid marketing leads and earned leads, prospecting and mining. Okay? What we're going to concentrate on today is purely leads that cost you no money. Okay? It's a whole different idea when we talk about paid leads. Like, people always say, well, what is an example of a paid lead? And I've done a lot of them over the years. But like, there's a Kohl's directory, if some people may be familiar with what's called the Kohl's directory. And all that is something that I use. I'm an old school cold caller, okay? I'm one of the few remaining ones still left in the industry today, okay? And I like the phone. I'm the type of person that likes to close my office for 2 hours and call people on the phone. That's my thing. I know that's not everybody's thing, don't worry, but that's my thing. So I would get this Kohl's directory. It would cost me $985 for a year, as of last year. And I'd buy Jamison, PA. That's where I'm born in, that's where I live right now. And I would call everybody in Jamison that's on the National Do Not Call registry, in other words, that's been vetted, and just start calling people, and I'd get their valid emails, and I'd go through that direction. That's one possibility that's out there for paid, just so you have an example, but I don't want you spending any money right now. All this is about things that you could do that is free and gives you a good baseline, okay? So we're going to concentrate on the 7 least expensive and most efficient ways to lead generate, being to earn leads. Here's a good general rule of thumb for lead generation is to invest 10% of your income in it, but 30% of your time in it. For many of you, haven't made $1 yet, and that's fine. But it's a good rule of thumb that we use in the Keller Williams universe, that if we made $100,000 last year, I'm investing $10,000 in lead generation. But different flavors of ice cream for everybody involved. The thing is, if you guys start getting a good base on things that don't cost much money, you won't really need to be spending all that much money down the road, will you? Okay? Gary Keller quote, "I am not a real estate agent, I am a lead generator." So Gary Keller, where we have a picture right there behind Adam's ears. There you go, Adam, point him out. There you go. Okay, Gary Keller, he has a great saying. You know where his office is in Austin, Texas? Now this is about 7 floors. I've never been there myself, but I think it's 7 floors. Do you know what floor he's on? Where his main office is?
First.
Very good. What? Why?
We're there to see everybody.
Very good. One step closer.
You can actually see what's going on with his business and hear all the hearsay probably and everything else, who's coming, going.
Close. You guys are touching on it.
Yeah.
Okay, you may not know this, but it's where the training room is. The training room is on the first floor of Austin, Texas. Okay? He likes to be, his office is like literally, there's a gigantic training room. It's about 7 times, I've only seen pictures of it, but it's about 7 times and the size of this one. And his office is right next door. And he lives and dies. He goes to the classes. Now here's a guy who, his net worth is to take all of us in his room and times it by 10, and we probably can't compete with the fine gentleman, okay? But he goes to all the training classes that they have, even something as simple as lead generation, because he wants to know what's being taught out there. And all the time, you'll read in the Millionaire Real Estate book, the MREA book. Did anybody read the MREA book? We got to get some MREA books here for everybody, okay? But it's like our Bible, our Quran, our Book of Jehovah, whatever one believes in life of Keller Williams. And one of the opening quotes is, "I am not a real estate agent. I'm in the lead generation business." Okay? So that's straight from the top. It's all about lead generation. Okay? Here's some good stats. As I've told many of you who have attended the classes before, you're going to remember a whole mighty 5% of the statistics that I tell you today. Within a month from now, you'll remember 1.3%, okay? But that's why we have this slide deck. But this gives you reality. As you guys know, I'm ex-military, and I like to kind of tell you the way that we train, but also show you a little thing called reality at the end of the day. Because when the bullets start to fly, every single good plan goes out the window. True, Dan? Absolutely. So reality of situation, your sphere of influence, okay? AKA the people that you know, the people that are in your phone. You're gonna have about a 30 to 1 payoff. In other words, if you have 30 contacts in there, one of them will buy a home within the next 2 years. Open houses. I see this all the time. First of all, great job for many of you who are doing open houses. And this is the time in the season where open houses are going crazy. We've seen it the last 2 weeks. And I was having a good conversation. I think Rebecca, me and you might have been having this conversation a couple days ago. But what happens right now at this time of the year is you start seeing a large amount of people come into the open houses, but the quality is less than what it is in January. The traditional Northeast business cycle in real estate is really simple. As soon as March and April come and the weather starts getting nice, if it ever gets nice again, people start going out. They're programmed. The old mentality here in the Philadelphia area has always been once the weather got out, somebody would look for a home so they could close before the kids go back to school in September. That's the old mentality, okay? So what you're gonna see with the open houses, you're gonna see a large amount more people, but the quality is less. Here's a good truth for you. If it's January 15th, pretend with me, and it's snowy, and it's slushy, and it's a Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and a client walks into your open house or to your office or your model or whatever your case may be, praise the Lord, my friend, because that is one motivated person right there, okay? And that's the thing that we're seeing. In January and February, we may not have seen the numbers on the open houses, but those people were, relatively speaking, quality. Here in April, what we're seeing is a lot more numbers, but a lot less quality. They're in what's called the discovery stage, okay? And for those who have attended some of my classes, you know at the discovery stage, they're still figuring it out, investigating, until the worm turns, they're not a real buyer, okay? So open houses, I see this again all the time. A large amount of you new agents, you guys want to do open houses, and that's great. That's one of the flavors of ice cream. But at the end of the day, you can't put all your stock in these open houses. You have a 20 to 1 conversion rate. So again, when people are coming in and we're welcoming them, making them feel good, et cetera, and we're asking them if they're working with an agent so we know that we're doing the right thing legally and all that kind of stuff. And you have that nice little list and you go home and you go to put them in your EH database and you're all excited to make phone calls over the next day or two, right? Reality hits in. It's a 20 to 1. Out of those 20 people you call, one of them are going to turn into a buyer. Okay? FSBOs. Who knows what a FSBO is? Educate me. What's a FSBO?
For sale by owner.
For sale by owner. Okay? Well, for some of the people who are brand new, what a FSBO, or for sale by owner, is basically at the end of the day that we have a client, or potential client, I should say, who has not found the value in using us as real estate agents. So they're selling it by their own. So basically we could call FSBOs, and there's FSBO lists that you could do kind of old school cold calling to. You can start working those phones, 20 to 1. Okay? Expired listings. We see this happen all the time. Expired listings on trend. The listing's over. You give them a call. 30 to 1 shot. Door knocking, okay? A lot of people love door knocking. Generalization, and I have to use generalizations up here. Usually my right brain people love door knocking, okay? Especially my ones who are afraid of the phones, okay? Door knocking, you knock on the door, aka gardening, you're handing out your cards in a neighborhood, it's a 100 to 1 shot. It's actually the least effective almost of any type of lead generation, but it's one of the most popular for agents. Farming, same thing, 300 to 1. Basically what farming is basically you find a house that is on the market, and basically you find homes 5 on the side, 5 on the left, 10 across the street, and it's kind of like door knocking, but you're sending letters, you're sending a whole bunch of stuff. 300 to 1, unless you door knock with mailing. Cold calling, my baby, this is how I live for, you worked on Wall Street, Eric. What year, if you don't mind me asking, what year did you start Wall Street? Because I worked on Wall Street.
1994.
Okay, so I started in 99, so you even go back before I did on Wall Street. I remember when I worked for Sands & Sands Brothers up there. I walked in, I was a 23-year-old punk kid, straight out of the military, and I lived up there for a whole mighty 3 months in New York City. Hated it, moved out of there. And my first job was Sands & Sands while I got my 7 and my 63 license, and they gave me a phone book. Now, for you, some of you real young people, what the phone book was all these basically things that had numbers in it, okay? And what would happen is they said, start calling A through C. And I'd call Brooklyn. Not like parts of Brooklyn, like Bensonhurst, right? Like Brooklyn. And that's what my job was for the entire month, was to go through and cold call people. You have a similar experience, Eric? Absolutely. Commercial real estate, it lives and dies by phone calls more than any other side. And that's kind of my specialty at this point, is commercial real estate. Everything there is about the phone. The point is, all of us who have done cold calling, and give me a hands here, how many people have done cold calling in this room? 1, 2, I got 3, I got 4, I got 5, I got 6, I got about half the group, okay. So basically, the whole thing with cold calling, every one of us, when we start getting involved, we're going, man, I know what they tell us. It's 3% conversion rate, but they don't know me. I'm damn good, right? We're all arrogant a little bit when we're starting to do the cold calling. And then there's this little thing called reality that comes in. And no matter how well you think you are on the phone, really a top-notch cold caller, top-notch in the nation, is converting at about 5%. The national average is 2.5%. The point is, nobody's hitting on 70 and 80% clips, okay? Even Boiler Room and Wall Street and some of those movies, they pretend that they're hit on that, but it's not that reality. The thing is, with cold calling, for every 100 phone calls you make, 2.5 you're going to get an appointment for. Okay? So it's just basically batting average. You're stepping up to the plate every single time, swinging away. Click, move on. Okay? Online leads. I get a lot of these questions, Zillow and Trulia. A lot of people are gonna say, hey, Zillow and Trulia has something called Premier Agent. Okay? Anybody here at the Premier Agent? Do I have okay, a couple hands, okay? I had that on this for 13 months until December, as in 4 months ago, okay? I hated it. Because what it is every single time somebody's on Zillow or Trulia, it comes right to my phone that Bob Smith is on Zillow, or whoever. And you talk about it being a slave to the system. What happens is all the agents that's on Zillow or Trulia, we get these leads, and it comes by, and it's like literally a slave. Oh, I got a Zillow Trulia lead. Hold on, honey. Can you pause that movie? Hey, this is Dave Slezak giving a call from Keller Williams Realtors. Hey, I see you're looking for a home, and they're like, first of all, this is freaky because I'm literally on Zillow. How'd you get my telephone number? But it's being sent right over to me the second that it comes. But the law of statistical averages basically comes in that the first person who contacts them has a higher conversion lead than anything else. And honestly, I would get about 3% overall. And by the way, all these figures here, guys, these are all from Pennsylvania Association of Realtors. These are not Dave stats. These are not Keller Williams stats. These are all Pennsylvania stats. And that's how it worked. And it cost me $6.50 a quarter to be a Premier Agent. Okay? Pretty intense. But it wasn't worth it for me. Rebecca, you had your hand raised?
I was just going to say that happened to me last night.
Oh, did you?
Looking at beach houses in North Carolina, and next thing I know, realtors, like, within a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, you're an absolute slave to that system. And you get them at 1 o'clock in the morning. And what happens is Zillow Trulia, they have that little person that says, do you need a live information? You know, that one of the little pop-up boxes. And what happens is say, yeah, I would like to. And they patch it through. It's on a rotating cycle. So let's say you had 5 people in Bucks County that were Zillow Premier Agents for Jamison, PA. What they'll do is they'll patch it forward to your phone at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon, whenever people are looking at houses. So you're laying there in bed, and it's like 12:30 at night, and you look down, and it's like, ring, ring. Yeah, somebody's calling for Abington. No, I'm not picking that up. I'm not even awake. But that's what that is. It changes the whole component. I personally did not like it.
Dave.
Yeah, Joel.
Can I ask you a question, Dave?
No, Joel. Of course you can.
I'm going to intrude with a question.
All right, Joe, I'll allow this. Go ahead.
Those numbers, let's say door knocking, that's a
Yeah.
1%. Is
Yeah.
that 1% that you'll develop a lead, or 1% that you'll get a close and get a sale?
1% to turn into a contract.
That it turns into a contract?
Good question. Okay.
You know, it's funny, direct mail, a good direct mailing piece years ago used to be at 3%. That's how they quantified that was a good direct mailing piece, and I see those 500 to 1 there.
Yeah. Yeah.
As is 10% of, that's the old marketing budget too, for any business, basically, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's really changed a lot over the years. It's like I was having a conversation, could have been with any one of you guys, because I've had this conversation. People always say, well, when I come into Keller Williams, you know, do I get leads given to me? And my short answer, of course, is no, you're lead generating. However, we do have floor time. And for you who are not familiar with floor time, in simple English, you get 2 or 3 days out of the year, or excuse me, a month, sorry, that you're basically, any calls that come into the office get directed to you during that time slot once you're up and trained on it. But see, this is something that's so completely different that 20 years ago, we used to, believe it or not, have people come into our offices. Like they would just walk in and be like, can I see a real estate agent? And before my time, okay, a little bit before my time, and I don't have any of my extreme vets. Bernadette, how long have you been in real estate?
5 years.
Okay, so I don't have any of my extreme vets. Actually, I do have one veteran here. I don't know how it worked in California, but at the same time, before what happened is you used to get this book, like before Trend and everything, and they had some kind of weird book or something like that. And like all these people would come off the streets and it would have all the houses in this big binder. And you would find the houses in the binder. And like apparently what would happen is, I guess you photocopied them or maybe used that fax machine thing or something of that nature, and you gave it to people. So people were coming into the office all the time. And people would call into the office all the time. Back in the day, floor time was really, really great, I could imagine. I wasn't around at that time. This is probably mid-90s. I have no idea. But in today's world, as we all know, again, changing generation, we're in the 4th industrial revolution of big tech right now. Everything is basically done online. There's very few people who call into the office, relatively speaking. Bernadette works the front desk. I'll ask her, does anybody honestly come in, Bernadette, and go, I'm looking for a home. Can I meet with an agent? Does it still happen every now and then?
Rarely, but there have been once or twice that somebody's walked in and said, is this a real estate? I mean, it also doesn't help that we have no signage because we're in the borough. We're not allowed to have any signs out.
Right.
I don't know what the numbers are like. If you have that kind of a walk-in, we will have that in New Hope. We'll have a better handle on it then because we have a storefront, but it's very, very...
Yeah, and I can honestly say when I worked in Abington for the 13 months that preceded my job here, which was right on the main road right there, I think one time we ever had anybody ever walk in. So the point is, even with floor time, it's nice, it's a little extra something, but all this stuff, the point is, there's no magic bullet. What we're gonna have to do is take a little piece from one, little piece from the other, and and step it up to the plate, and it's gonna pay off. But you gotta be consistent with it, okay? All right, so neighborhood farming. So we're gonna kind of start off off on one of the very first ones. Is called neighborhood farming, okay? Now, farming. Does anybody have any background or knowledge on farming or gardening? No? Go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
Plant your seeds and water them.
Yeah.
Same thing with neighborhood. You walk your neighborhood, get to know everyone.
Have you done it yet, Will?
Just start handing your cards out.
Have you done it yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Expand on that, please. I didn't realize that you started it. Tell me what you've done. Tell the group so they understand. Will, you've had your license for what, 6 days? Good job, man. You're way ahead of the game. No wonder why you keep stealing all my cards. Now I know why. But go ahead.
No, so you start, garage sales in your neighborhood are great, easy to meet in, families there, and you know you're thinking of selling. So you just kind of walk in and say, hey, I'd like to offer you an opportunity to consult with me. Here's my card. You can browse around, buy something, take the kids with you. They love kids.
Yep.
Big bonus.
There is this theory that I think a lot of newer agents have, that to be a good real estate agent, you have to know very wide depth You have to know everything. You know, every home that's in the market from New Hope to Abington, you know, everything along those lines. It's not the truth at all. The truth is, as you become more of a veteran agent, you build deep, but you don't build wide. In other words, you specialize in things that work. I've told many of you that my last year as a real estate agent, before I went back into training, was 70% of my clients were referrals, okay? And about 80% of those referrals were two types. And they were what's unique to me. Ex-military and Russian. Вы говорите по-русски, ты знаешь, since I speak Russian, okay? The thing is, almost everything that I did was based on trying to produce more military, because they're loyal, and I could speak their language, and Russian, because they're loyal, and I could speak their language. It's what is unique to me and my personality. Now, if somebody would give me a call and they were looking for a $300,000 home in Abington, I'm at the point in my career where I'll actually farm them out to another agent, get the referral, the 25%, because I don't really feel like dealing with somebody in Abington right now at 300 or 250 or Elkins Park. It's just not my style at this point, okay? I'm blessed to be in that position. However, I've gotten to the point over the years with the marketing and everything that I'm doing to basically center on two things, exploit it, if you will, and make it mine, okay? So, same thing with neighborhood farming. I'll tell you, we went to Bold, me and Bernadette. We went to Bold training about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever that was. Not sure if you were there at this point yet, because I know you came in late. But we had Diane Kokolska, good Polski name, Kokolska. She is, what is Diane's title exactly? I mean, I call her head of
She is
productivity program.
Yeah, she is bold. She's mapped. She's the training coordinator for the whole.
Yeah. Regardless of her title, with no disrespect to Diane if she ever saw this video, basically at the end of the day, she's one of the leaders of the Keller Williams universe, okay? And Diane, guess how many homes she sold in her first year as an agent? And this is also validated. This just wasn't a bunch of BS. It was actually validated.
2.
Go way higher.
300.
I wish. That'd be good. 126 homes. Okay, now this was a single mom who had no background in real estate at all. Okay, she was actually coming out of bankruptcy through a divorce and the whole situation. And how did she make this happen? Well, first of all, if you know her, she's a bulldog, okay? And what she did is she went to 2 or 3 neighborhoods around her house. She put her kids in the wagon, like a little red wagon, and drove them up and down and walked up to them with the kids and said, hey, we've come here Halloweening in the past. My mommies and me are now, real estate agents. She would kind of utilize the kids in this process, and she was wearing like the local, Warwick Bears or whatever the local school was, wearing that clothes, and she would just hand out business cards of these 3 specific neighborhoods. And she would say, hey, I live here in one of these 3 neighborhoods. My kids go here. I'm part of the PTA, and I have a vested interest in these neighborhoods. So I know it really, really well. What did she end up doing? She ended up building a quick rapport, as quick as you can on a door knock, which is not that easy, okay? And just started going out there. And she would do this every single month for a full week by door knocking. That's all she did. And the thing is, on these neighborhoods, because there's a lot of neighborhoods in this area, you get that one sign, because that's what it starts with, right? That one sign. And then you start to see 2. Then you start to see 3, 4, 5. You get the point. She ended up dominating these 3 or 4 neighborhoods in somewhere in the Carolinas. And it just took off from there. That was her entire marketing plan, boys and girls. The first year. That's it. As she says, she looks back on it and she laughs because she put all of her eggs in the basket, or as she put it, all her eggs in a wagon. But it worked quite successfully, hasn't it? Thing is, Diane found what worked well that she was comfortable for doing, right? and she did really well. So the whole thing with the 7 ways of effective lead generating is I teach you many different flavors of ice cream up here. You heard the backgrounds of everybody who's in this class. That's how we started off today's class, what everybody's done. Just because I said I like cold calling does not mean that you guys need to cold call in any way, shape, or form. You may not like neighborhood farming, no problem. You may not like social media, no problem. The thing is, you got to find one of these 7 flavors of ice cream. The only rule that we have here is you got to eat ice cream. So nobody's lactose intolerant here, okay? But the thing is, you're going to have to find what works well for you and go in that direction. So we're going to talk a little bit more about neighborhood farming, the first of the 7. Okay? There's a difference between door knocking and farming. Door knocking is you go up to the door, you knock on the door, you give a card. That's it.
What's the fine line between solicitation and...
Good question.
Yeah.
You got to be careful, okay?
Because I know my neighborhood, you're not allowed to solicit.
Yep. Certain neighborhoods you cannot. You're absolutely right. But most you can. And I know my neighborhood in Jamison, I can solicit because I have Girl Scouts going there all the time and et cetera, et cetera. So there are some neighborhoods, especially in my Soulberries, you know, exactly. My New Hopes, the borough, different places where you cannot solicit. So this is one of those types of things you do have to be a little bit careful with, okay? But at the same time, to be honest with you, a lot of places I've gone, neighborhoods, or my agents have gone, they'll tell you, hey, there's no soliciting here, you just leave, okay? You know, sometimes you just don't know, but you can contact the township and they will tell you what neighborhoods are
Or
solicited.
get a permit to do it.
Exactly, that's another direction of going, okay? So the difference between door knocking and farming, door knocking, knocking the door. Farming is a whole different ballgame. The cool thing about lead generation, marketing, prospecting, it's what you make of it, okay? The last organization I was with in Abington, we did farming on every single home that we got a listing on in the state of Pennsylvania, okay? And what farming was, is we broke it into 7 distinct steps, okay? And those 7 distinct steps were, number 1, we'd start with a door knocking, introduce ourselves. Especially if we had a house in the neighborhood, because basically what real definition of farming is you have a listing, 5 homes on the left of that, 5 homes on the right, 10 across the street. So 20 houses was what you're sending on. We'd knock on the door and say, hey, my name is Dave, I'm with, in this case, Cardano Realtors, and essentially, you know, we're listing a house right across the street. And I just want to introduce myself. It's such a beautiful neighborhood. And you're going to see me come and go. I just want to introduce myself. That's it. And you give them a card. About 80% of the time, the truth is, you're going to knock on that door and nobody's going to open the door anyway. Okay? So we always have a letter, a simple Microsoft Word letter saying that my name is Dave Slezak, I represent Cardano. We're going to have 1313 Mockingbird Lane across the street as our home that we're selling, et cetera, et cetera. And then we would put it, we put on the flag in the mailbox, okay? Because technically you're not allowed to put it in the mailbox. Did 98% of my agents put it in the mailbox? Yes, they did, okay? But I'm telling you the official way of doing business legally is you have to put it in the flag, okay? Then what we would do is we would, as soon as the house, we always did coming soon listings. So what would happen is we would literally take a house, for 3 weeks we would market it, before we'd open it up to the public. That's the way that we did business. So that opening weekend, when we were having the open house on a Saturday, because we always did open houses on Saturdays, we never did them on Sunday. On Friday, we'd send one of our people out. They'd blanket the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood, but specifically those 20 homes, stating that we're having an open house. Thing is, what do neighbors like? You're probably all live in a neighborhood very similar to mine. I see a lot of my neighbors, as I'm pulling out the driveway, I see them pulling in their trash cans, whatever. I wave to them. I wave to them all the time, and I say to my wife, what the hell's that guy's name again? Mike? Mitch? Mickey? I don't know. He wears a Penn State shirt all the time. That's all I know about the cat. The thing is, there's a lot of neighbors that we're friendly with, especially 5 or 6 homes down, but we don't really know their names, right? But when you have an open house, what do neighbors love to do?
Be nosy.
Be nosy. Americans are a nosy little group, aren't we? Okay? We love to see how other people's houses look. So when they come over, We're always asking them, hey, you live in the neighborhood? Hey, you probably got one of my letters. Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I have a face-to-face contact. Because that's what it's leading up to, is getting a face-to-face contact, okay? And it's a start of something. It's putting a seed in there, okay? Not gonna make a sale right there, but it's a start of something. Second, we would get an offer on the home. We would send out, we just got an offer on this home. And if you'd like a free CMA on your home, let us know. Again, another week went by here. Then one thing that we did that was great is, I tell you we don't spend any money, right? Here's the 2 times I'm going to tell you ever to spend any money here. There's something called the Red Store, kwredstore.com. Okay, gentlemen especially, because we're like Simpson characters. We wear the same things over and over, okay? Is basically invest a almighty $30, $20, whatever you're looking at doing in one KW shirt. That can be a polo, that can be a dress shirt, something along those lines. You want to have them on your open houses. They're also great when you're walking around the neighborhood, you stop at 7-Eleven, you stop at Wegmans, whatever the Whole Foods, whatever the case may be, you've got that on, okay? So KW Red Store, buy a shirt. I recommend. There's also girls' fashions there, if you go in that direction, okay? I always have a gym towel, so when I work out every other day, I have a gym towel that has Keller Williams on it. Again, I just want people to know where I work, okay? The second part of spending money is invest in color envelopes, okay? Think about it. When you go home, you're probably a lot like me. As soon as I go home, my dog jumps on me, my 2 kids run over to me, and then I say hi to my wife. I walk into the kitchen, and there's my mail. It's always in the same spot. And it's like a machine gun. As I'm asking my wife how her day's going, you know, and blah, 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 and how the kids are doing. I'm like a machine gun. Crap, 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 boom, boom, boom. I'm throwing it in there. And the thing is, if you have a colored envelope that's handwritten to the neighbors of 1505 Margaret Court, Jamison, PA, I stop and I open it. And even if I open it and it says, look at, you know, we have a home going across the next, I got my message across. That's the definition of good direct mail piece, is somebody to open it at the end of the day. And basically, that's the whole thing that you're trying to do, is separate yourself from the competition. If you use some boilerplate, you know, easy thing that you're using on a computer that says 1313 Mockingbird Lane, Jamison, PA, and it's in a white envelope, it's going to be machine gunned, isn't it? You use a colored envelope, it's just one of those things that make you stand out. It's a little corny, but it works to its point. I'm going to use my marketing guy here on that one. Good idea? I mean, concept?
Valentine's card from your squeeze, right?
Exactly. Exactly, brother. But basically, again, this is where you're being creative and unique. Consistency is the most important thing. The whole point on this is it's not so much, it's like E-Edge for all you guys who went to E-Edge training classes. E-Edge is not going to sell you a home. I'm sorry, it's not. All the marketing that's in there is tapping somebody on the shoulder every 2 weeks so that they're ready. When they become ready, your name is top of the head. Okay? Same thing with this. What I see as my problem with new agents all the time is new agents go out, they door knock once, and they never go back out again. Do you think you're really going to get people that way? No, you're not. It's the consistency of doing it. And the thing is, you find 2 or 3 neighborhoods that you're comfortable with, that's near your house, that you know, that you're vested in. You specialize in those 2 or 3 neighborhoods. The other thing that we would do on top of that is once somebody sold their home, we'd have a going away party. And what we would do is invite the 20 neighbors, 10 across, 5 and 5, and I'd get like a vegetable tray from Wegmans or a cookie tray or something, cost me like $12. And all the neighbors would come over and just say goodbye. Now I have another face-to-face with these people. Okay? The other one that we found great value on is, again, I'm representing the seller in this case, but let's just say it's now closed. Well, I'm kind of sort of going to get to know the buyer in one way or another. Even by name, even if I don't physically meet them, but I'm going to kind of get to know them. Well, it's a free game. Everything's free game after they close. So all the time when we have about 70% success rate overall with this portion, is we knock on the door again for the people who just closed. Say, hey, listen, I met all the neighbors in the neighborhood. And they all came over to say goodbye to the old neighbors. I'd love to throw you a party. I know I didn't represent you, but these people are so nice here that I would love for you. You're going to fit right in. And think about it. If you're new to a neighborhood, don't you want to meet your neighbors? It's not like the old days, those 50 movies where people came over with a pie to your house. Remember that type of stuff, you know? That doesn't really happen as often anymore. And we would get to meet the new neighbors to the 20 people across this, you know, all in all. Now I have another time that I'm meeting somebody. The point is, I got in front of them over and over, and I did something that's a little bit different, didn't I? That's what we did for all 122 listings in the state of Pennsylvania for my last real estate company. We did all these gardening. It's like this gigantic Excel document we had, and we used to send people out, okay? The other thing is, when you're in a neighborhood, check for any expired listings in the community and FSBOs. If you're already in there and you see an expired listing, you knock on somebody's door and you just basically say, hey, listen, or, you know, give them a call, or have one way or another get through to them. I have a listing over there on 1313 Mockingbird Lane. You know, I'm already here. Can I at least do a CMA for you to see if you find value in utilizing this? Because then I could double dip. And when I bring over a client, I could show both homes at the same time. Okay? Some low-hanging fruit. Helps with the listing portion as the primary driver. Again, the real advantage of this is a lot of times that when you're doing this farming in the neighborhood, what you're going to find is you're really trying to dwell on the listing side. Okay? Listings are if you had 20 contracts, your next 20 contracts, Joel, how many of them in a perfect, ideal world are listings?
In a perfect ideal
Perfect.
world, I guess you want at least half of them to be listed.
Wrong. Good try. Good. Long stretch. I'm
You never
tethered.
go out of your house. You stay home,
20.
watch the ball game.
Yep. All listings. In a perfect world, all you want is listings. You don't want buyers. Why? Right? Number one, an average buyer is going to consume 40 hours of your time, statistically speaking. An average listing is going to be 8 hours of your time. Think about it. You take somebody out. You take them to see 3 homes this Saturday, 3 homes on Sunday, 3 homes the following week, 3 homes next week. Now you take them out to see 12 homes. And they say, you know, Eric, I appreciate you taking me out. You did a great job. But after looking at homes, especially since it's a seller's market right now, after talking to my uncle's brother, sister's cousin, who knows everything, of course, because they're all knowing seer, we decided we're going to pull back and rent for another year. How much money did you make? 0. Not a friggin' dollar. And you think they're really going to remember you in a year and come back to you? You could hope and pray, but probably not. You take a listing. You decide that you're just going to be depressed for a month. You sit on your couch and you watch The Office all day, okay? You have your feet up and you're laying around in your dirty shoes and socks and you're doing nothing. All you do, because you're required in the state of Pennsylvania, is put it on trend. That's all you've done. Nothing more. No marketing, no nothing. It's on trend. Who's calling you to see homes? Everybody else. Everybody else in the real estate world. And since this is a seller's market with only 2 months of supply, you're going to be getting a lot of phone calls, aren't you? Technically, not that anybody would ever do that. Now you're sitting there laying on your couch watching The Office, marathons of The Office all day long, based in the famous Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area, my hometown, and you do nothing. Do you have a sale? Most likely. That's the difference. With farming, because when you're going out there and going to the neighborhood, the thing is, you're probably going to be able to double dip. In other words, first of all, they have to list their home, right? So you got your primary thing that you're looking at accomplishing. And the second thing is you're probably going to need another home. Or if they're moving to Florida or someplace like that, worst case scenario, you could refer it out. Down in Florida, make a 25% commission. But you have the listing. And the thing is, with the listing, the other part, depending on how you do your business, some of us like to have our little friendly faces on the little signs. Some don't. I don't have that pretty of a face, okay? So, but I still like to have my name out there. And when you have your name out there, it's free marketing, isn't it? Relatively speaking. And people who are going to list their home are seeing that. If you have a buyer, are they seeing your name ever? Of course not. You're not driving around saying, Dave Slezak's here with customers, Dave Slezak's here with customers. It doesn't work that way, okay? Listings are everything, okay? You live and die by listings.
You know what's funny about that? When I was
Sure.
down in Florida on vacation, a realtor pulled in, I was in a CVS, pulled in the parking lot, she had magnetic signs on the side of her car, and she had little business card holders behind her rear door. I thought it was, it was different.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's different strokes for different folks. I personally would never do that.
Have a chance to talk.
But if somebody in this room finds value in there and I see their car pull up and they steal that idea, go for it, guys. The thing is, here's where we're all artists. It all depends on what you feel comfortable with. We each have different things that we find as value, okay? But yeah, you're absolutely right. What direction you go. So basically, team up with a friend or a group. This is the other nice thing. In this room today, my most experienced agent, well, Nancy just walked in, but I'll leave that out, is probably Leslie or John. And they've been here a mighty, how long have you been? Yeah, no, it's a very young crowd we got here today. Leslie, what, November?
Well, I didn't really start till January.
January. John?
Well, I got my license in May last year, but I didn't really get started in a couple months.
Till like December, right? Give or take. Okay. So the point is, everybody in this room, relatively speaking, is a relatively new agent, right? What I've seen as some real value, team up as a group on a neighborhood. I'm serious. Team up as a group. There's two advantages. Number one, if you guys decide to team up, and I'm dead serious about this, sign a piece of paper that how you guys are going to break the commissions, okay? So there's no problems. But the thing is, a lot of people are part-time agents. A lot of times, people that are new to this, they're a little bit nervous going out there, especially door knocking. It's not something that we normally do. But if you find a partner that lives nearby, and let's say, Dan, that you're basically, doing Sundays 12 to 2 for Buckingham Green. And Eric, just pretend with me, you do the following Sunday from 12 to 2. And you guys are rotating back and forth. More importantly, if you wake up that day and go, man, I'm not feeling that great, or I want to go to the gym, or, I want to watch The Office all day, or whatever the case may be, you're going to think, you know what? If I don't go out there, I'm letting my boy Eric down. So you have an accountability partner in a way. And the thing is, sometimes when you're in a new neighborhood, it's best to learn with another person, because if one question comes up for one, comes up with the other. And I've done a neighborhood in the past with somebody, and what we did is we signed an agreement that every single person that would come in, this is the way we did it, every person, we'd split the commissions 50-50, period. And the first one that came in, we flipped a coin to see who would be in charge of doing the paperwork, okay? And we just went 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we decided after 3 months, me and Eric, if we were going to continue it or not. And luckily Eric was able to keep up with me, so we decided to keep going for another 3 months. You know what I mean? So that way, if one person's pulling too much weight, you know what? It dissolves. And you go in that direction. So it's one of those types of things, because at the end of the day, when you write a contract, it's only going to have one of your names on it, okay? Only one of you guys are going to get credit for it. But if you have something in writing, that's basically how you split it up.
So it just was one, so it would be, I'm trying to think of how to pose this. So at the settlement table, the commission check that you would get would just go to one of you,
Yep.
and you would just give whatever.
Yeah, and the way me and Eric were pretty good friends, so the way we did at Victoria Crossing is we would just say, yo, E, since they're all relatively the same price, I'll take the first, you take the second. He might have had a higher listing a little bit more than I did, or vice versa, but we just didn't worry about it too much. You know what I mean? We just went 1, 1, 1, 1, because they're all townhomes in that community.
Is just one of you listed, or do you co-list it on the?
No, only one of us would list it. That's it. But what would happen is a lot of times Eric would give me a call, because he had 2 kids at the time and I was a single guy. He'd be like, yo, D, can you take somebody out at Sunday at 1 o'clock, brother, to this one that came through for me? Yeah, dude, I got it. But next time, we're going to make sure this is even, and we kind of go in that direction. So I would go out and show the homes because I knew the neighborhood as good as he did.
Is there
Nancy?
any reason why you didn't co-list it, or what?
We just decided not to. I mean, there was really no, I think just so there wasn't confusion. Plus, me and Eric weren't a team, per se. We just were buddies. I mean, again, it's really up to you and what you make it. It's just the way me and Eric did it.
So there's no law.
I just want to make a suggestion. If you do that, and even if it is up to how you want to work it, you do want to make sure also in the future, because you'll get referrals down the road, when some of these people they may relist or they may rebuy. You got to work the whole plan out ahead of time,
Yeah.
how you deal with it. So if you sell a listing and they buy something, and down the road they sell again, do you still split those people? Would they refer people? You split it, so you just have to make sure.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure you have the same fire in your belly. My expression is, the person has to have the same fire in your belly that you do.
And that's why after 3 months you review it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that Eric and I just did it is if somebody would show up as a referral down the road, whoever they were with, they just took. That's just the way that we
Maybe
rolled.
Whoever they called down the road, you mean?
Yeah, that's
But
just,
work all that out. I mean, like
Yeah.
I said, it worked out for you, but
yeah. But it's just another concept, another idea. Some of you guys maybe say, you know what, don't want to work with anybody else, and that's totally cool. It's just another idea, nothing more, okay? So that's a little bit on that. So now we're going to talk about networking, one of my personal favorites, okay? So we talk about low-hanging fruit, okay? How many people here are familiar with meetup.com? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let me try this. How many people are not familiar with meetup.com? 1, 2. Okay, 2, and probably a lot of people on camera. Okay, again, this is about something that is inexpensive and we enjoy doing. I personally believe in my heart the key to real estate is finding what you like as your personal interest and blending it with your career. Okay? Meetup.com, and there's other things like Meetup.com. I'm just going to use Meetup.com because I've been using it for about 10 years. Is basically at the end of the day, you could find groups of people who have similar interests as you. Example. All right, just within 10 miles of Philly, just for the sake of argument. So like, here you go, you could join one of my really exciting groups, Spanish-American War Dialogue, with the whole 3 members, or we'll find something that's real. But if you want to join, I'm looking for my 4th member. But basically what it is you can see, give me a group. Anybody shout out something that they have interest in?
Golf.
What?
Golf.
Golf, okay. I can put in golf, but I'll put in, just to open it up a little bit more, sports and fitness. As you can see, there's a wide variety of groups, okay? And what you're going to see on these groups is you can see how many members are in each groups. Look at that one, 4 members. 157 people. Women on course golf and business, 79. Some of the groups are larger than others. Pickleball is like super popular. 290 people going to the water tower pickleball. 1,414 runners. Northeast Philly Crab self-defense, 20 members. Thing is, I belong to 2 groups right now. One is the Veterans of Foreign War in Warrington, Pennsylvania, okay? And what I do is I invest a whole mighty 1 hour per month, it's on a Wednesday, and I go to the Veterans of Foreign War in Warrington, Pennsylvania. And I'm in there with people that have served in World War II, Vietnam, my Gulf War, Dan's Gulf War, all of us in all these different things. And we're talking business, and I'm still trying to pretend that I can hang with guys like Dan, 20 years ago that I was in the military, But I just like talking about the Army, and I enjoy it. And most of us military guys, we have a real bond with each other. We could talk to each other. So if I'm talking to Dan about, his experience in Iraq and Fallujah and, et cetera, and I'm sitting there, when I was in my Gulf War, ours was so much easier than yours, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, Dan, we're here for a meetup group, so I know we got to do our thing. Brother, if you know anybody who's looking or buying or selling a home, keep me in mind. Is that fair enough? I specialize in all soldiers too, really all veterans. That's my specialty. Can I have one of your cards, Dan? Sure, Dan. What do you do right now? You're a police officer. Pretend with me. Okay, good. Can I have one of your cards? I'm taking his card and I'm putting it into my e-edge, into my database. Okay? More important than that, what I'm doing is that I take each one of these groups that I go to and I devote it for 6 months. And I do not miss it. at all over that 6-month period. It's 1 hour a month, guys. With driving, it's taking me 15 more minutes. So I'm putting an hour and 15 minutes in. The thing is, if I go there and only 7 people show up for that night, because it will tell you how many people are going when you sign up for this, by the way. If I meet 7 people and none of them say I want to buy a home immediately, because that rarely if ever happens, the thing is, I'm building my database, A. And B, what's my worst case scenario? I went there, it wasn't as productive as I wanted to be. Did I have fun? I did. That's, for me, that's my version of fun. Okay? That's the whole thing. The other one that I joined, that I have, is the Ben Salem Russian Business District, which is in Uzbekistan, if anybody knows where that restaurant is. And I go there once a month. It's on Tuesday, the 8th usually. And I go there, and it's just a chance for me to speak Russian, because I don't get a chance to speak Russian very much. And I do the same thing, and I'm talking about, Siberia, or, when I used to live in St. Petersburg, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, yeah, вы говорите по-русски, ты знаешь, мой друг. Я знаю, meetup группа, me business, David. The point is, I'm handing that out, doing the same exact thing. Okay? I'm investing 2 hours with driving, 3 hours at the most, per month of going to these groups. The thing is, after you start going 3-4 months consistently, and you start seeing a lot of the same faces, you start building a deeper rapport with the people that you're meeting out there, instead of a one and done. Okay? And this is something that I've seen some of my newer agents create an empire with. Okay? I've seen people do Philadelphia Classic Cars, Autism Society. One of my girls, she used to actually go to meetup single type things and hand out her business cards. The thing is, everything that you can imagine as a group is pretty much out there, which is cool. And we saw, for example, kill that. These are all the different groups. Book clubs, career and business, dance, family, fashion and beauty, health and wellness, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender,
Queer.
Thank you. Queer. Language and culture, music, pets, photography. Everything that you can imagine is on there. I could be a bit of a nerd occasionally. I actually I'll go to a board game type thing. That was my last group. I used to play this game called Axis and Allies. I used to play with my uncle. It was a World War II military game. We put little tanks on it. It was kind of cool. A little nerdy, but the thing was, I enjoyed going there. And there's everything for everybody.
There's real estate set up there.
It is. But you know what? You know the last group I want you guys going to? Real estate.
Yeah.
You know why?
Hanging out with a bunch of realtors.
You're hanging out with a bunch of realtors.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, does it? That does not. And the other thing, don't join, or if you could pull it off, you're a better man than I am. Running clubs. I like to hike a lot, and running clubs.
You don't talk a lot when you're running.
Yeah, absolutely. It's impossible to be like, hey, how you doing? You're running up, hey, could you stop? Here's my card. It's all sweaty. Here, would you put this in your pocket? There's no place to put it in your stuff. And on top of that, you're all sweaty. So I wouldn't recommend that. But Philadelphia car shows, good ones. I'll just pick any one. I have no idea what movements even mean, so let's just see what that is. Okay, Animal Activist of Philly, 410 members. Philadelphia Young Professionals for Care, and I don't even know what some of this. Philadelphia Medicare for all meetups. Community Innovation, as you can see, it's a wide range. Philadelphia Paleontology Society. If you want to know about dinosaurs, go for it. But regardless, you can see there's a very wide range. Honestly, no matter what interest you have, if it was collecting pet rocks, you'll find a group on here. Okay? But this is really something that you should look at because it's free. And I'm telling you to join 2 groups for 6 months for an investment of 3 hours per month. You could join 10 groups if you wanted to. You could join 15. But you got to figure out a way to prospect. You got to figure out a way to basically go in that direction for lead generation. This would certainly help, wouldn't it? So just an idea. 7 different flavors of ice cream. You don't like this? That's cool. We'll find another one. Okay, so each according to one's need: Russian military, charity events, wine tasting, art shows, spiritual groups, ethnic, we saw them all. Use your business card intelligently. So when you go, don't be one of those weird cats that stand at the door. Hi, is this the Russian Business Society? Here's a card, here's a card, here's a card, here's a card. Don't be that weird guy. Talk to the people and then hand out your cards. Put all the people that you get, put them in e-age database or whatever CRM that you utilize. Moving on. Blogging, emailing, and social media. For those who have attended my e-age training class, which is about 80% of you in here, you already know this part, okay? For those who have not attended the e-age training class, that's the one and only class that I hold every single month. And that's why we're recording all these, because we should, hopefully, have these videos up on YouTube within a week, okay? So they will be up there. But basically, at the end of the day, when we talk about our emailing and social media, we're taking all these different people, putting them in our database, and the whole thing is, basically, at the end of the day, we have in there set transcripts, or if you will, set templates. There's the word I'm looking for, templates. We talked about an 8x8 campaign. An 8x8 campaign is 8 touches in 8 weeks. It's usually 6 emails and 2 phone calls. For those who have no background in marketing at all and is afraid of marketing, they're all templates. They're all built for you in e-age. You require no capacity for marketing. It's just there, you set it up, and these automatic campaigns are coming out. For those who have better marketing backgrounds and are much better or want to try marketing, you could personalize everything in e-age. The thing is, and I have somebody here who has a lot more marketing background than I do, but my version of marketing in real estate in my 21 years, campaigns are nice and they're beautiful, but it's more important tapping them on the shoulder consistently every 2 weeks.
Like a drip, yeah.
Yep, drip campaign them. Drip campaign them all day long. And that's the nice thing with e-age, is it's all set up for you.
Can you save your own templates on the Edge too? If you
Big time.
Figure everything.
You can change every single word, every single line, every indentation, anything you want on there. Absolutely.
The branding aspect is, I guess, the KW logo has to be on there somewhere.
Yeah,
right? Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that because we have an entire e-age basically built for that. Okay. Don't feel that you need to be a tech expert and understand all the platforms. Master 2 of them and go with them. Example, we've got my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter is teaching me at this point some of the things. Instagram, I'm still used to good old LinkedIn and, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. There's many different platforms that are out there. Twitter, blah, 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 blah. Don't feel that you have to be an expert on every one of them. Pick 2 of them, do them well, get comfortable with them. In time you could expand, but just do 2 of them, okay? Facebook, okay? This is one thing I know everybody's got a Facebook account. I really hope at this point, okay? The thing is with Facebook, a large amount of you are brand new agents in here, okay? This is something that took me a while to get used to. I wasn't super comfortable with this. I had to get used to this myself. I don't use Facebook. Very, very little to nothing. My wife uses it like 27 times a day. I don't care about it. I figure if somebody's my friend, I'm going to pretty much talk to them on the phone or I'm going to see them. Maybe I'm old school, but that's the way that I kind of think about things. But the thing is, we probably have, I have no idea how many Kim has on there, probably like 700 people at this point that are friends on Facebook, okay? But what I do is it's on my calendar, because a lot of you guys know I live and die on my calendar, is on the 23rd, I know exactly what day it is, the 23rd of every single month, I send out a Facebook post just stating, hey, my original one was I just joined Keller Williams. If you're looking at selling and buying a home, let me know. Now I usually put on my listing, my commercial one that I have in Langhorne. I just put that on there and said, hey, I have a brand new gas station that we're selling in Langhorne. If you're looking at buying or selling a home or commercial property, contact me. The point is, all I'm doing is posting something once a month that is real estate related on my Facebook page that's going out there. And it's going consistently. Because the whole point is when somebody's getting ready to purchase or sell a home, I want to be top of their mind. Okay? And even if I don't know, probably 80% of those people I don't even know who the heck they are, but they know my wife and they know the last name. So it gives me an in. So if you on your personal Facebook haven't said that, hey, I'm working for Keller Williams already, absolutely, you better. That's your sphere. Absolutely. And I'll show you a bad example of somebody who did something very bad. It's me. I went to my church, okay? 2 weeks ago, I am part of the leadership committee of 7 people at my church. I'm an assistant minister. That might surprise a very large amount of you in this room, but I am, okay? And the thing is, I do all the new member orientation for my church. Sound familiar? I do the training for new people at my church. Sound familiar? So it's very similar to what I do here, okay? But I go into this group of 7 people who kind of come up with the direction of the church, and I walked in, and it was Thursday of last week, and I just got my first Keller Williams shirt. It's red, bought it from the bread store, okay? I walked in, this guy named Nick and Lou, who I know real well, and I walk in, and they're like, looking at my shirt, they're like, dude, what's that? I'm like, well, my work shirt, I didn't have a chance to change today, I had to work late. And they're like, you work for Keller Williams, you're a realtor? Yeah, for 21 years I've been a realtor. You've been here at this church for how long? Yeah, I know. But in church I never talk about, well, let's talk about Matthew. By the way, I sell real estate. It doesn't naturally come. But my point was, here's an example of my church, which almost everybody knows who I am. I'm a reader on Sundays. I'm part of the new member orientation. And I never told anybody, my fault, for not telling anybody that I'm a realtor. It just didn't come up. But by me wearing a shirt, that did that without me feeling weird about it. You understand my point? So now, if anybody in my church of 70 or 80 people, because I think I'm the only realtor, is looking at selling their home, and luckily for me it's in Jamison, right next to my house, I have a much better shot because they know at least who the heck I am. Instead of Dave, the new member orientation, the tall guy who does the readings on Sunday. That's exactly what this is about. So that shows, even as a veteran, a mistake that I made. Okay? So Facebook, much like every other lead generation, consistency is everything. Okay? Is this still the rule of marketing, my friend? Everything at the end of the day with marketing, consistency, consistency, consistency? Okay, good. So that's the whole thing. Consistency is everything. I use this. Anybody buy a new car in the last year or two? Good. Was it a car that you had before?
Yes.
This doesn't work then.
And quality.
What's that?
Brand quality too, so
Absolutely.
We'll do this.
Did anybody need laser eye surgery at all in the last 2 years? Will, thank you. Okay. So when you went for laser eye surgery, did you notice that when you were told that you had to get it, and you started driving around, did you notice all the signs that are all over the place for it?
And advertisements on the radio.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Out of sight, out of mind is the same adage,
Exactly. The point is, we drive around, and there's probably a whole bunch of eye surgery things right around here, and none of us notice it because we don't have eye surgery. I remember when I got my Jeep Wrangler, okay? I never had a Jeep Wrangler before in my life, and Jeep's a little weird because we all wave to each other and do strange things. I don't really understand it. But the point is, all of a sudden, I'm driving around the street, and I'm like, man, everybody's got a black Jeep Wrangler anymore. Now, did they just in the last 24 hours all buy Jeep Wranglers? Of course they didn't. I just never noticed it.
How do you know they're waving at you and not doing something else?
Well, yeah. It took me about a week before, man, I'm a popular guy in here. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But the point is, that's what this is all about when we talk about lead generation and marketing, is tapping somebody on the shoulder blade every so often. I got in, not a heated discussion, but a discussion with one of our new agents, who you all know, and she said, you know what, Dave? Absolutely, I come from a marketing background, and everything is about the message. Well, she came from an industry that was not it was not home sales. And I said, you're right, probably. I mean, I know nothing about computer industry, but if you're telling me that, I have no reason to debate you. But the thing is, think about it. Joel, how many years you live in your home?
This one only 2 years.
Okay, anybody here live in a home for more than 15 years?
Yes.
Okay, how many years you live in your home? 30 years. Okay, so let's just pretend that you and I met, and you're well, we did, but just pretend that you're a customer, okay? And I just met you at one of my Meetup groups, And I send you an email next week, and it's the best damn email you ever saw in the history of real estate. And you're like, wow, this is sharp, it's colorful, it's got a great message. Do you think there's any chance whatsoever that he's going to turn to his wife and say, honey, I know we've lived here for 30 years. We raised our children. We have a lot of memories here. But this marketing campaign, this realtor I just met, is so good. Let's put our home on the market tomorrow. No, it doesn't work like that.
If the message is compelling and talks about how now is a very good time to sell and what the future of the market could look like, and you can give some information, it might get him thinking about
Well,
it,
that's my
especially
point. That's where I was going with this. You could plant a seed, but nobody's going to say, okay, let's just move tomorrow. But it will start moving the worm. You know, start moving the boulder up the hill, exactly for the reasons that are just said, okay? But that's the thing is, if you had this greatest world marketing message, and they started to think, like Leslie said, if you don't have any follow-up after that, it's gone.
I always say marketing is a sum of many parts.
It's true.
It's just, that's the way I've always described it to clients. It's just not one thing you're going to do that's going to work.
You're absolutely right.
What the industry.
Okay. Don't also feel, you know, it doesn't have to be business related. Okay. Be creative. I talked before about my military and my Russians. I'll give you my last campaign that I did. Is I had a YouTube video. I stole it from the History Channel, okay? And it's Wake Island. For those who don't know history, that's okay, because I'm a weird guy like this. And there's this little island in 1941 that the Japanese bombed and blah, 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 and only so many survivors hung out. So they found these 8 men that were in their about 80 years old, all across the country. And what they did is they took these 8 men, put them on a plane, flew them out to Wake Island. It was the first time they were there since 1941. And these guys, you know, big burly guys wearing the old red Marine jackets, you know, with the hats and the whole 9 yards. And they went out there and they were touring Wake Island for the first time since 1941. And they're remembering their friends they lost. They were remembering all these different types of things. And these 8 men, as you could imagine, just started crying left, right, and sideways. It was very emotional, you know, to watch this. It was like a 7-minute video, okay? I send that out to all my military people that I have as in my group in the Edge for military, okay? Because if I keep sending out one of the markets, a 2-month seller market, you know, I could use that every time here and there, but I want to try to go with something a little deeper, a little more emotional, okay? I wouldn't be sending that to my Russian people. I wouldn't be sending something in Russian to my military people, okay? In other words, it's how creative you want to get with your people. Okay, and especially using e-Edge in the groups, there's a lot you can do. Okay. Open houses, we already talked about that. We had a class on open houses and showing agents. Many of you attended that. If not, the videos here, along with this video, will be online very soon. As me and Bernadette keep working that out. 21 ratio, we talked about that. Key is to capture their info. Okay, it's the main thing with open houses. When somebody basically comes in on an open house, again, we're smiley, we're cheery, we're happy. We want them to say yes as much as humanly possible. We want to build a rapport as quickly as we can. You know, we're going to find people that some are standoffish and some aren't. Okay? It's 2 different philosophies. One philosophy, my boy Vince Vesey, a lot of you know here, he's one of our top producing agents in the office. Vince and I have different opinions on this, so this gives you 2 different trains of thought. Vince believes that when somebody comes in, you get their information as soon as they walk in, and you have everything written down. I'm different. I like for them to tour the house, try to build a rapport, and when they come back, because I man that front door, then get their information. Regardless of how you do it, tomato, potato, the thing is, you have to get their information at an open house, okay? You do need to find out if they're working with another realtor. Absolutely, of course you do, without a doubt. It's not your opening line, but you absolutely, of course you do. But the thing is, when somebody gives you the open house information, here's a good one I've learned. So, your name is Joel Polner, correct? Am I saying that right? Okay, good. And Joel, your email is joel@hotmail.com, correct? You repeat it. Because a lot of times, especially when somebody comes in originally, they're just writing down something and putting a bunch of scribble on there, and you can't read it. The worst thing that could happen is you come home from your open house, you're all excited, you tell people you're giving them a call in 24 to 48 hours, you go, okay, I'm ready. Got my coffee, got my water here. Ready? All right, let's start doing this. All right, let's tack. Come on. First one, telephone doesn't work. Send an email, it bounces back. Time is the most important commodity we all have at the end of the day. And you got to make sure that information is valid. The worst and most deflating thing is you leave and you have 7 or 8 people that you talk to for 20 minutes apiece that you think you're friends with and you're friendly with. and only 2 of their emails work, or only 3 of their phone numbers work. That's why I always tell people, another thing with open houses, especially guys, again, we're like Simpson characters, so this is easy. Most of us always have a shirt right there with a pocket. Okay, it's like my only shirt that doesn't have a pocket. I used to always carry a little yellow notebook. And when people would go around the house and ask something like, what is the tonnage on this air conditioning unit, or what is the heating bills or something, even though I would know the answer to all this type of stuff, I needed a reason to give them a call back. So I'd be like, I don't know. I know nothing. You know, at least that one question. And I'd write it down and it would give me a reason to give them a call back. Young ladies, you know, iPads, especially if you get the connection, I'd walk around with my iPad. I've been using that more than a notebook anymore. But there's different ways of doing that, but you want to tell them that you're going to give them a call back. I always leave it. Hey guys, again, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Again, Joel at hotmail.com, and your telephone number is blank, all right? And your wife's name is Rita? Okay, good. I got all my information. Hey, I'm going to give you a call in a day or two just to see how you guys are doing. Okay? Sounds good. Point is, I'm telling them, I'm calling them. You're setting that precedent. And no matter what, if you say you're going to call somebody in 2 days, I don't care if you have pneumonia, call them.
Do you personally upload their information if you know they're working with another realtor for future purposes or anything?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Just out of curiosity.
Send, if they're working with another realtor, just a quick thank you email coming to the open house.
Should I? I probably should. Do I? I don't.
Well, why don't you keep their information for the future?
Okay, maybe it pays off for me. The average American moves every 5.2 years, so maybe 5.2 years, you're right, it would pay off for me. But to me, it's not worth it.
I mean, that's what...
Because it takes a while for me to put them into a database. And yeah, they're going to purchase in 5.2 years, but again, 91% of customers say that they will recommend their realtor, but only 11% do when they actually go to purchase. It's along those mentality. And you know what, I'm just going to work with the people that are hot. And if they're worth going to my database, they're worth putting together a marketing campaign, in my opinion. Well, I'm not going to set up I can't set up a marketing campaign for somebody working with somebody else. So I don't want that information to get diluted or somehow I checked the wrong box. Because at the end of the day, the thing is, realtors, most of us are pretty cool overall. But I'll tell you, I just worked with a shark at the last place that I worked with. And my God, if any realtor would contact somebody they have under agreement, honest to God truth, she actually would call the real estate commission on those people.
Who technically owns?
And she's a 20-year veteran. She was mean though.
So your recommendation is not?
No, I don't see any value in it personally.
I see value in sending a thank you note.
It's probably a nice thing to do, but I just don't, because I don't want that realtor to be like, well, you send them in a thank you note? Oh, what's up with that? You know, I'm gonna have them under contract and then I get some weird phone call, which has happened in the past. To me, it's just not a point. If they really are interested, they're gonna go through that realtor and contact me anyway, in my opinion. Different flavors, but that's just me.
And then, so you don't need their information? Then,
No.
Right, the client's information if the realtor.
No.
Right,
There's really no reason for it. The only thing they'll say is, yeah, I'm working with Claire over at RE/MAX. Oh, Claire, yeah, I think I ran into her. Yeah, great company. You have a signed contract? You're all good to go? Yeah, I always ask the second follow-up question, absolutely. Because you know what? If they're working with an agent and that agent is not strong enough to get a buyer agreement, and they're out showing their homes, man, I know I'm dealing with some new agent who doesn't know anything. I'll steal them all day long. Absolutely. Hell yeah. I always ask if they have an
What are the leads that you put into the CRM? Let's hypothetically say you pay for some of the leadage, paid marketing some.
Yeah. I'll put anybody who's worthy of getting a marketing campaign, I'm putting in my database.
Yeah.
That's my role.
Who owns it? Is Keller Williams or you, or since you're paying?
That's one great thing, boys and girls, here. That's so different than RE/MAX and Coldwell Banker and all the other ones. You guys may not even realize this. But let's just pretend, and I know none of you guys ever would, but let's just pretend that you quit tomorrow. Every one of you guys quit tomorrow, besides me crying in my room. The thing is, when you leave, you take your information with you. The data is yours. If we were at Coldwell Banker, RE/MAX, Cordano, all these other places, you leave, that information is mine. Your clients are mine. Your database is mine.
Your own database.
What's that?
If you're at a Coldwell Banker and you enter in, you know, Dave into my own Excel, Dave, then it's mine. Or
It's a gray area because like when I worked at the last organization I worked with, we all had one database. and we put all of our information in that database, and it would be under, Jane Doe, John Doe, Sarah Smith, blah, blah, blah. So when we would do marketing campaigns, we would send it out to everybody in the database that a new house was coming to the community. A little bit different mentality. But the thing is, if Jane Doe quit, I would go into the system, reassign everybody from Jane Doe that's on there under the David Slezak, the office manager, the COO. Okay? So each company is a little bit different. Remax has one database that they utilize. What's it called? Any Remax? No, you guys are on the, remember what Remax is called? OneLogix or something like that? It's been a while. But they have OneLogix, we'll call it, if that's what it is. Very similar type of thing. Those people belong to the customers.
Belong to the market.
And the listings.
You leave here, we'll release your listing, nobody else will do that.
Yeah. That's a big, big difference in Keller Williams. Not that anybody will ever leave here, but good to know. All right. Okay, so we talked about that. Good. Special events. Again, first-time homebuyer seminar. Again, a lot of this stuff, guys, is I can lead you to water, but I can't make you to drink. Okay? I cannot tell you, and I'm sorry, I cannot tell you for each one of you that I walk around this room and say, Beth, this is what you need to do, Beth, hon. Do this every single day for 2 hours, blah, 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 and go in that direction. I can't. I don't know every one of your personalities. And truthfully, even if I set it up, you guys are the ones who have to execute my plan, okay? The thing is, special events, first-time homebuyer seminars. The very first marketing piece that I ever did in the history of my life was down in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, okay? Long time ago. And at the time, I was in new home sales, Ryan Homes, okay? So it was a little bit different. But I went to Planet Fitness all the time down there. That was my thing. I went to Planet Fitness. And if anybody's familiar with Planet Fitness, they have, they have on there their little music, and they give you updates of what's going on, like seize the day before the day seizes you, and they have all these little things on their TV screen, right? And one of the things that's on there is you could advertise on it. So I put a first-time homebuyer seminar, Margate City, New Jersey, at the library in Margate, 7 to 9 on a Tuesday. I still remember the day. I think it was April 21st, to be honest with you. It cost me either $35 or $53, okay? And I said, you know what, at the time I was a single guy. I was like, if nobody shows up, nobody shows up. I'm just gonna try something different, And remember, all I could sell was my Ryan Homes community, because that's the way that it worked, which is called Victoria Crossing. So I couldn't even sell anything else. You know what I mean? I was just for my community. So I showed up for it. I had 7 people show up. All people that were about my age at the time, because most of the people who went to Planet Fitness at that time, at least in Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, was about 25 to 30 years old, which I was at that time. And I got one whole person out of it. Sound like a success? Actually it is. Because that one home that they bought in my community with my commission rate at the time, it was probably about $4,500. It wasn't a large amount, but it was something. But again, it cost me $35 for 2 hours on a Tuesday. I started having these quarterly, started having them monthly. I started bringing in realtors because I could only sell for Ryan Homes, you know what I mean? And I would work it out with the realtors, like, if you get a good lead, give me 10% of commission. Deal, done. I got creative. But the thing was, I came up with an event that was first-time home buyers. And each one of you brings something unique to the table and something that's different. This is where you start coming in. Dan, you understand this well. I used to do military events a lot. And I would put in the Atlantic City Press, all ex-military veterans come for a VA conference. First time home.
Up here when you're classified specifically to veterans.
Exactly, VAs. So again, what you make of career nights. Did anybody go to we had a gentleman named Aaron Kaufman in. Kaufman, thank you. And he came in about profit sharing. Did anybody attend that? Okay, 2, only 2. 3, okay. Gary Siegel, he goes once a month, I think Gary's doing it, profit sharing. Did anybody go to Gary's class?
It's Wealth Building Wednesdays, twice a month.
Twice a month, okay. Anybody attend any of those? Okay. So a whole part that you guys are not seeing part of this equation, and that's profit sharing. I'm certainly not going to be able to, with my remaining time, go over an entire profit sharing to give you an idea. But simple English, you recruit somebody, they come in, you basically make 5% of their commission right off the start. And that 5% doesn't penalize them. It gets paid through our market center, okay? And on top of that, after 3 years, you decide that you want to move to India and become a guru. You leave this industry altogether. You go to Indiana, I don't care where you go. As long as your friend is still here and you've been here for 3 years, you get that 5% basically for the rest of your life, as long as your heart's still beating. And there's situations where if you're passed on, you could pass that on to your family, okay? The thing is, the average agent, for what they sell in the state of Pennsylvania, if you bring in one person, it's about $3,400 a year, okay? If you recruited 10 people over a course of 3 years, and you sat on your couch and you watched The Office, 34 grand, okay? This is a part that you guys are not grasping as new agents right off the bat, but it's huge. To be honest with you, I'm still grasping it. I'm new to Keller Williams since January. We didn't have this at my last company. So, but it's something, another way of making money, especially long term. I like to call it my 401k program, even though it's not. To me, it kind of is, okay? And the thing is, you could have career nights. Why not? Jeff Levine, who many of you know, Nancy, who just was in here and just left, and Michael Cosden, 3 agents right now that were very motivated. And what they've done is they've created websites saying, hey, are you interested in Keller Williams Doylestown? And anybody who comes to them, I have a little agreement with them, that they send them over to me. I recruit here all day. I do like 6 or 7 a week. Most of you guys in this room, I've personally recruited, okay? And the thing is, now they're a sponsor. So if Jeff sends somebody over to me, Jeff will meet with them for like 5 minutes, say hi to them. Heck, I then meet with them. Benefits me because they're coming to my training program. That's how I get paid. And it benefits Jeff. Okay? What did Jeff really do, or anybody at that point, to do that? Next to nothing. True? You could have a career night. Be creative and consistent. Art galleries. I've seen some people do art galleries. Kind of cool. Not my thing, but cool. So much you could do, but it's how creative that each one of you guys get. Okay? Make sure I'm doing okay here on time. Exactly where I need to be. Okay. All right. This is something, again, kind of harking back to what I said at the very beginning. You're all new, relatively speaking. I don't have anybody who's been here for a while, but I'm going to put my one person. I do have 2 people on the spot. Adam. Most of you guys know Adam? Seen him around the office here? Okay. This is a good guy to know, all right? I'm going to pump you up a little, brother, because you deserve it, okay? But Adam here, when did you start real estate, Adam?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. You are about the cap, aren't you? What are you, like $30 away or something like that? $300? I mean, you're very close to capping. It's April, and he's getting ready to cap. Here is a guy who 2 years ago sat in your seat, okay? Adam's background is restaurant management, and Adam used to work at a pizza place for a long time. And Jules, people are familiar with Jules Pizza, okay? And really no background at real estate at all before you came here, not a second, right? Okay. And Adam and I got to know each other a little bit originally because I call him the night shift. I joke with him all the time. I call him the night shift because a lot of times him and Floyd, they come in around late and they kind of hang in by my office around 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But what he does, well, more importantly, how'd you build your business?
Yeah, open houses, cold calling, just keep at it. I learned quickly that it took me 6 months, so it wasn't exactly quickly, but your phone's not gonna ring. You gotta be making calls, you gotta be reaching out, whether it's your sphere, whatever, just like you said, pick something, but I've been doing a lot of cold calling.
Yeah, and that's the point I wanted to drill home. You're selling yourself short, my brother, because I know you well enough. What do you do every single day? You put in 2 hours on your schedule, 3 days a week to make cold calls, don't you?
Yeah.
Period. Thing is, I'm not telling you guys to cold call. I think you've got this down to this point. The point is, you got to figure out what works well for you, and you have to dedicate it. What he does is he spends 2 hours a day, 3 hours, 3 days. 3 or 4? Honestly.
I try and call it for at least an hour every day.
Okay, absolutely. And you can see he's dedicated his time to it, okay? And he's done that consistently. John, I'm going to throw you on the spot. Or Michael, as he just walked in and he's like, what the hell did I just walk into? Michael, how much do you honestly lead generate per week?
Per week?
Per week.
5 hours.
5 hours. Good. And what do you do as lead generation? Just in general.
I call past clients and my sphere of influence and ask for referrals.
Good. Do anything else above and beyond that? Anything?
I join, I'm involved in like community events, like things I would want to do otherwise, like softball teams, knockout groups, and film fest.
Good.
And stuff.
Creative.
Do you consider that part
John,
of
you've been around a little bit.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
kind of throw you on the spot as well. What have you done?
I probably do around 6 to 8 hours per week, but that's partly because I have another job.
Right.
I'm only here part-time.
Right.
And it's usually sphere of influence. I can't get past the cold calling,
That's okay. That's why we have many different flavors of ice cream.
social media. I mean, I'll call people I know. Plus, through my other business, I'm marketing through my practice. So I have people coming in saying to me, "Oh, I know someone," or "I'm going to be selling my house this summer. You're my guy."
Right.
So that's worked out.
The main homework that you have coming out of this, if you gather nothing else from today, honestly, this is the best advice I could give you, but I'm giving it to you straight, for real, okay? You need to go on your calendar when you get home, when you get done today, put in 2 hours, 2-hour block, 3 days a week for lead generation. Because honestly, if you don't, and I mean this in all love, in all respect and all honesty, I won't see you here a year from now. You won't be here. You have to lead generate. You must. There's not a choice in this issue. This is one of the only times where I'll sit up here on my pulpit and tell you you have to do something. Okay? But you need to do that. Because 3 months from now, I love that a lot of you guys come to my classes, and I welcome you to come to my classes. But if you attend only my classes and do no lead generation, you won't be here. It's got to be both. Okay? So there's not my fright tactic, but I want you to understand. I want somebody to be straight with you and to be honest with you. Because if you get in the habit of doing it now, when you're new, it becomes a habit. 6 months from now, you don't want to be standing here going, "Man, I wish somebody would have told me that 6 months ago." Now, I've burned through 6 months of my savings, and I'm down to 1 or 2 months of my savings, and I'm in real trouble. Okay? So 2 hours, in the Keller Williams world, is actually 4 days a week, 2 hours a day. I'm saying start off small, 3 hours, 3 days, 2 hours a day. What time you make that is totally up to you. Okay? But it'll keep the bill collectors at bay. Okay. 36 touch points. Does anybody know what the 36 touch points are? It used to be called the 33 touch points. It just changed this year to 36 touch points. Anybody? Okay. We've got to order MREA books for these trips. None of them even know what it is. For new agents, something to kind of give to them, because that's probably the most important book that we have. We'll talk about that, just so I don't forget.
Download it too. A lot of people just go to Amazon and download it on their Kindle.
Yeah, that's another possibility, but one way or another, we got to get them, because if they read one book, that's the one book to read, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day.
That and the one thing, I mean, next week we have a book club starting for the one thing.
Yeah, Louise. Yeah. Okay. 36 touch points. In simple English, in the Keller Williams universe, we're supposed to, if we put a prospect, you asked me the question, if I put somebody in my database, why do I put them in my database? For marketing. In the perfect Keller Williams universe, we're touching any person that we put into our database 36 times in a given year. Okay? E-Edge, which a large amount of you people have gone to my class on E-Edge, and for those here on video, it comes after this class. You'll get the E-Edge very soon, so I think the next class. Most of this is built in. So that 8x8 campaigns, 8 touches in 8 weeks, everything is generated on the 36 touch points. Okay? And the 36 touch points basically works out. I'm not going to go over all this, but basically in the simple English, if you contacted a whole bunch of people in your database, for every 12 people, you get 2 transactions back per year. I'm just going to stick with the easy stuff right now. Basically, 36 touch points are 4 quarterly phone calls. So for those who are afraid of the phone here, I'm asking you to give your people, your prospects, 4 phone calls in a year, 1 in every 3 months. The reality of the situation, 70% of the time you're not going to pick up anyway. Okay, so you're really making like 8 phone call per year per person, maybe 2, you know what I mean? Okay, 26 monthly emails. We know about E-Edge. E-Edge has this all set up. There's nothing that you have to do is set campaign, and it does the whole darn thing for you. So you do not have to worry about it anymore. So when did I send Mary Smith an email? When did I give her a call? E-Edge has this all set up for you. It's a military system, structured, where you could put your own individual creativity, but it's there, okay? 2 events and 4 direct mail pieces per year. Again, remember, all the 36 touch points are tap them on the shoulder so they remember who you are throughout a given year. Okay? Helpful hints and interesting facts. The average realtor makes 2 attempts to reach a client. That is the national average. These are national stats, by the way. 80% of all sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. The universe that I come from before here was different. The company that I worked with, I brought in all brand new agents, just like yourselves, but here's the difference. First of all, the 1099 employee thing, you know, where you guys are 1099 employees, all realtors are 1099, we had a different version of what a 1099 employee was. And here's what our version was. We only accepted full-time agents or people who wanted to become full-time agents. And you know what we did? You know what my life was 4 days a week? From 9 to 11? We put everybody on the phones. And we call FSBOs, we call expired, we call the Kohl's directory. And all these new agents would just call and call and call from 9 to 11, 4 days a week to set up an appointment. Okay? And we would call, the way that our database was set up, our CRM operating system. So we would call somebody 9 times within 30 days. Okay? And what would happen on the 7th or 8th phone call, because you're much like me, I'm sure, you see something show up on your cell phone, first time you don't answer, like, who the hell's calling me from this number? Second time you're like, nah, I'm still not answering. Third time you're like, this is weird. And you're not leaving a voicemail. 4th or 5th time, you're like, God darn it, I'm gonna pick this up and scream at this person. And somebody would pick up you've called me like 7 times in the last 2 months. Sounds really negative, right? Absolutely, sir, I have. But think about this. If I'm this aggressive to get your business, imagine how aggressive I'll be when I'm selling your home or represent you as a buyer's agent. Different mentality than what we have here at Keller Williams. I'm not saying this is the right thing. I'm just saying that's the way that we rolled. Okay? But the point is, the average agent basically calls 2 times to reach a client. That's it. And majority of the sales, and for the ones, we were talking about Zillow and Trulia. Who was I having that conversation with? Rebecca. She's not in here anymore. But basically, remember I told you the way it works for Zillow and Trulia, Premier Leads, is they show up on my phone and everybody has to call? Well, what would happen is when they would show up, all these agents would give a call. Like within 5 minutes, like 30 people would give them a call. And then some of us, about a week later, we'd follow up with another phone call. And that would be it. So here are these brand new people who are looking at Zillow or Trulia for the first time, just trying to figure out real estate, and they're getting blitzkrieged on all these different phone calls. A month goes by and they're not feeling any love anymore, are they? No, but now that a month has gone by, they've researched, they're getting a better idea of what's going on. Now a realtor reaches out to them. Do you think they're much more receptive to talking to them and more confident? When in Rome, do what the Romans do. Me and Eric were having a good conversation about this the other day. The thing is, do not get trapped in the universe that people buy like you do. I'm dead serious. This took me a long time to learn, personally. Eric and I were discussing this the other day, and I'll share with the larger group, if you don't mind, Eric. Okay, go. The way me and Eric buy, like when I buy a car, me and Eric were laughing about this the other day because he's built like I am. I look at all this stuff online, find the best damn price, find the best darn car, find my color, go anywhere within an hour. I'll go there, I walk in, I don't want to drive the car, I don't want to touch the car. I want to talk about price. He's got 15 minutes to make this happen, and if not, I'm moving to the next place. That's the way I buy my car. That's the way Eric buys his car. Me and Eric, they're called bulls. We represent 3% of the United States population. If I assume everybody buys the way that I do, I'm missing on 97% of the population. So keep in mind, the way that you do business, you want to be as universal as humanly possible. Okay? You guys ask if you follow really to a T, Thursday is the best time to prospect call. Okay? Why, I don't know, but it is, okay? Do you have any idea why Thursday is the best day?
Well, it actually hits a lot of people up for weekends if they have free time. It actually puts it on their calendar. It's almost like email blasting. If you do it on a Monday or Tuesday, basically it's out of sight, out of mind by the weekend.
Yep.
So it's kind of like...
Yep. So Thursday is the best time to prospect. Wednesday is second, and peak times are 8 to 10 a.m. and 4 to 5 p.m. Think about it. Large amount of, we all had different careers before we came here at Keller Williams, okay? I'll use what I know. I used to work in Media, Pennsylvania, and I used to drive down to Media, Pennsylvania 4 days a week. And before that, I used to drive to Edison, New Jersey. I was a road warrior, okay? And I would be listening to BBC and the NFL Network, driving my 2 hours, depending on traffic, to Media, and 2 hours back, okay? And I had to be at the office for 9 a.m., okay? As Vice President of Sales and Marketing, that's what time I had to report. And I would basically show up, and the thing was from 8 to 9, and I'm listening to my BBC, and I'm sitting there on traffic, because that King of Prussia interchange can be a real problem. And the phone rings, I'm probably going to answer it because I have nothing else to do, okay? But at the same time, if it's 6 o'clock or 6:30 at night, sometimes I may not because I'm home with my family eating, okay? So when we talk about cold calling, that's kind of what we're talking about. In 2007, it took an average of 3.68 cold calls to reach a client. In 2017, it took 8.02, okay? So we talked about the different world. This changes every single year. So people, you'll all the time say, is cold calling dead? You see this all the time. Yes and no. Yes, it takes way more statistically to make a conversion. But the difference is, there's nobody doing cold calling anymore. There's a few of us old dogs, and that's about it. So we actually, get more quality, even though it takes us more time to get through. But again, changing world. After a presentation, 63% of the attendees remember stories. Only 5% remember statistics. I use this one all the time, don't I? So we talked about my Wake Island video, okay? You heard me give a lot of stories. For those who come to my classes, do I always give lots of stories? There's a reason I give you guys stories. Because the point is, you will remember my stories, but you won't remember all those statistics. All those statistics of a 20 to 1 and a 50 to 1 and a 30 to 1 and blah, blah, blah. The thing is, you won't remember them as attendees in this class. The thing is, when you're email marketing, or just marketing in general, are they going to remember that it's a seller's market with a 2-month supply, that the average days on the market is 59.3 days? Or are they going to remember the message that you're coming up with? Message is way more important than statistics. And what happens, I've seen with a lot of new agents, is you guys love to, and I've been guilty of this too, let me spam you to death to show you all the things that I know. And we love to give them all these stats. But they're not going to remember the stats. And especially generalization, that's all I could use here. Ladies, never remember statistics. Men do. Who buys homes? Females. When in Rome, do what the Romans do, okay? Again, 91% of customers say we'll give a referral, yet only 11% ask. Referrals, very important. For those who did the buyer consultation, I had that yesterday. And that is taped and recorded, so watch the buyer consult video. But basically, with buyer consultation, when you're meeting with them, you're always asking for referrals early and often. When I do the buyer consultation, guys, 70% of my business last year was through referrals, okay? Now don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna ask you for referrals right here on the spot, okay? You need to make sure that I'm walking the walk instead of talking the talk. But I am gonna ask you for referrals as we move through, but only if I'm performing to exactly what my expectations are, and then some. You set that precedent early, and you ask for referrals, especially when the offer is accepted. So the offer is accepted, and the very next thing is after congratulations. By the way, do you have any referrals? Because that's the top of their game, okay? The thing is, you have to ask for referrals. Referrals are cheap. You convert 95% of referrals. Yet salespeople, for whatever reason, we're not good at it. We don't ask for referrals. We feel weird about it. It took me a long time to get used to it, but it became a habit. We'll bring it up in the buyer consult and go in that direction. Okay? But 91% of customers would give a referral. but only 11% ask. So this goes back to what I was just saying. Just because me and Eric buy cars in a certain way doesn't mean that that's the way me and Eric should be marketing, right? When in Rome, do what the Romans do. And the Romans are asking for us to give them referrals, okay? One of the most effective campaigns that I ever saw, okay? I'll give you a real life example. I had a young lady named Laura. She's a sweetheart. And this is about 2006, 2005. And what she was doing is it was cold, snowy day, February. She was driving to her community. And she was at a stoplight. And there's this little old man. It's about this big. And he was out there, and she worked at an active adult community. And he was out there shoveling snow. And you could tell he was tired because he was holding the shovel like this. There's snowflakes falling. And he just looked like he would rather be in any place else in life than to be shoveling snow. And she, with her camera, at the stoplight, went click. She put an email marketing campaign, a simple campaign that said, tired of shoveling snow yet? Come to Gwinnett Valley, active adult community where all snow is taken care of. And then the next one was basically had a whole bunch of people playing pinochle or something of that nature. The point was she sent this out, and it was that terrible winter. If you remember about 7 or 8 years ago, we got so much snow, it was ridiculous. It was just terrible. Even I was like, this sucks. I'm gonna go to an active adult community. You know, it's terrible. And the thing was, she sent this out to everybody in her database, and people were just coming in because they were so tired of dealing with snow. It cost her nothing. And she told me, and now Laura works for Toll Brothers, and I saw her about 7 or 8 months ago. She's a good friend of mine. And I went into her office, and you know what she has hanging? Besides her college degree? She has that marketing campaign. She has that picture, and she talks about it all the time. She said it was like the greatest thing ever. Kind of funny. Cheesy? Yes. Did it work? Yes. Did it cost any money? No. She found where some people had pain, and she exploited that pain. Step closer to pleasure. Step away from pain.
How are you quantifying your personal referrals? I mean, are you doing it through like Google online reviews, to the website?
To be honest with you, all I simply do is I send out any Edge. We have on there a birthday campaign. They get a birthday greeting from me, my old CRM system, but it's the same thing. The purchase campaign, when they got it. So if nothing else, my friend, twice a year they're at least getting an email from me saying happy birthday, and it's been your third year anniversary of buying a home. And most of them I keep in my database, you know, that they're military or something, so they're still receiving stuff above and beyond that. But all the time I get phone calls, I'll just be sitting here and be like, hey, this is Scott Van Slyke. This happened to me not too long ago. I'm sending over a guy named Kyle Fontanen to you. Sure. Who's he? You know, he was an Air Force guy. Okay, we won't hold that against him, but all right, that's fine. No problem. How do you know him? He's a friend of mine down at the VA. Cool, Scott. And I go to my database on my CRM and go, so Scott, how's your kids doing? You know, because I have to remember all that type of stuff. Look it up, and that's how I get my people. And Kyle just bought it to preserve at Northampton, $1.7 million. Pretty good, huh? Okay. Finally, should be, let's see if I'm exactly where I need to be. Ooh, 3 minutes over, so I'll hurry this up. So understanding our culture and our key KW lexicon. So again, a lot of people here are new, and we use all these KW language that people are not familiar with, okay? The 3 L's, we've heard that thrown around a couple times, okay? What are the 3 L's? Does anybody know? You're not allowed to answer yet. Adam. 3 L's. Come on, Mr. Veteran.
Listings, leads, and leverage.
Good job. Listings, leads, and leverage. It all starts with listings. Leads, I think we talked about that. Now leverages is resources. Because eventually, as you know, everything that I try to teach you here in class, I do not try to give you a loaf of bread. I'm trying to teach you how to fish. And right now, a lot of you are dealing with 1, 2, 3 clients. And that's great. But before you know it, you're going to be working with 15, 20, 25 people, and it's going to get crazy. So you have to have a scalable business. So what leverage basically means is there's going to be a time down the road, and I always use as an example Vince's team, Melissa and Vince's team. You know, they are the top producing team agents in this office. Okay? They have a buyer's agent. They have a seller's agent. They have somebody who works their web leads. They're no different than us. But as they started growing, they started adding people to their team. Okay? Down the road, that will be a possibility. That's called leverage. Not too important that you understand the whole concept, but it's something that's out there. Okay? Pareto's principle, or the 80-20 rule. What's the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto's principle? Michael.
80% of the agents do, 20% of the agents do 80%.
Ooh, close. That's the most common response, but not correct, sir. Adam, I'm going to throw you back on. Can you go 2 for 2, man?
It's 80% of our business comes from 20% of our...
Adam, man, you ate your Wheaties today, brother. Good job. If I wasn't tethered to the cord, I'd be going over giving you a high five. 80% of our results come from 20% of our actions. Efficiency. Lead generation. Think about it. Your lead generation, is that going to give you results? Heck yeah. That's how you find your people. Okay? Life happens. Things happen. I see myself, I'm no different than anybody else. I walk around this office and sometimes something comes up. Bernadette here and I probably talk more in this office than anybody. Me, Tim, and Bernadette talk probably, 72 times a day. And probably, with all due respect to all three of us, there's about 65 of them that sometimes me and Bernadette go, why in the world are we even talking about this? How does this, really pertain to us? It's something that's sidetracking me from my schedule, my priorities, my interviews, my training, my coaching, my making money. That's basically what we want to do. You want to be efficient with your time. So with your calendar, and you putting in that lead generation and putting in a 2-hour block, that is what's going to pay off. And in addition to that, with the 2-hour block that I'm talking about, it's your time. For a lot of you who do work from home, and I do work from home, I have an 8 and a 14-year-old, okay? Especially my 8-year-old. If daddy's downstairs working, my 8-year-old, well, she doesn't know, and nor do I want to say, Daddy's working, get out of here. She comes down, Daddy, do you want to play My Little Ponies? Daddy, do you want to play Candyland? Daddy, do you want to do anything? And I say, absolutely, honey, but Daddy's got to do work. Remember, Daddy does work from 9 to 11 on Fridays at home. But after that, we'll go and we'll play My Little Ponies, because Daddy loves that so much. That's a really good time. Kind of, my favorite game, absolutely. Please, let me be Twinkle, Sparkle, Glaze, whatever the hell it is. So the point is, if you're doing these lead generation activities, find a safe place for it. Close the door. Block it off. That's your time. If the phone rings and it's one of your buddies or one of your friends or one of your coworkers, don't answer it. Let it go to voicemail. Call them back after 11. Because if you end up on the phone for 20 minutes talking to one of your buddies, it's 20 minutes of lead generation time that you just lost. Dead serious about that. And if you don't have it at home, that you have a private space that you could go, there's all these conference rooms right around us. You could sign up on the board. You could close the door. There's a phone in there. You don't want to use the phone? Plug in your computer. Close the door. And if you're lead generating back there in the bullpen's a fun place. I hang in the bullpen with you guys a lot. A lot of side conversations occur, right? Kind of keep you off track. Is that a good place to really lead generate from the bullpen? No. But yet these conference rooms, surprisingly, almost are never filled. Did you notice that? Almost nobody uses the conference rooms. They never sign up for them. But that's what they're there for. You've got to find a way to block off that 2 hours. Okay? That's your time. That's your money-making time, boys and girls. Okay? KWMVVP. Essential to, what's our mission? I swear, if you guys don't get this, I'm really going to freak out. Thank you, Jesus. I was going to say, if you guys don't have this, I'm in real trouble. Okay, our mission, to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, and lives worth living. Vision, to be the real estate company of choice. We have a 39.1% market share in Central Bucks County. Our goal for the end of the year is to be at 50.1%. Okay? And as we know, we have a New Hope office that will be opening relatively soon. Go ahead.
they've expanded the mission this year.
Well, until I get it up there.
Continuous experience is worth giving and legacy is worth leaving.
You're right. You're right. I did read that. Values, probably my favorite one. God, family, and then business. Okay? And it's all right as I talk to many of you because I recruited y'all. We're not going to make you read Matthew in the back room. Okay? All God basically means is a set of morals that if your back is against the wall, what you're made of. Karma is real. And I know a lot of my guys here are going, Dave, you're selling out. No, I'm telling you, karma is legit and real, boys. Thing is, we have we have 203 agents in this office who just broke 200 for the first time in our history. Okay? If one of you guys are a rogue mercenary out there, that affects everybody else. Okay? That's why we really produce morals. That's why I interview. And as I look around this room, about 90% of you, your first contact was with me. Okay? And that's why I interview you guys, because literally I reject 20% of the candidates who want to join us because I don't think they have the moral fabric. A little bit different. Okay? Family and then business. I keep telling you about lead generation, put it in 2 hours. Pretend with me today was January 3rd. What's the very first thing that you should be putting in your calendar on January 3rd? Go ahead.
Yeah, you started here, right?
What's that? Well, okay, we'll use January 1st, beginning of the year. Let me use that. But good call, good call.
Thanks for,
Good job. Yeah, Dave's anniversary, of course. But what's the very first thing that you should be putting in your calendar in? Anybody?
Lead generation time?
That would be second.
New year.
Okay.
Well, new year, new business,
Club. Your family vacation. You should be putting your family vacation as your very first thing. I use.
Birthday.
What's that?
My wife's birthday.
There you go. Or your anniversary. So my wife and I got married on my birthday, so I wouldn't forget it. And if I forget it, then I could say that's my birthday present. But essentially, at the end of the day, is you want to be putting that in. First and foremost is your family vacation. I'll use a real example as I'm running tight on time here. Tim Beverling, who everybody knows as a team leader. Tim and I were having a great conversation. I said to Tim, tell me about your year last year. He goes, didn't do so good. Well, my first thing coming from corporate world is numbers, financials. He goes, no. We made our numbers. We recruited the heck out of it. We made all of our profit goals. So then what'd you fail on? He said, you know what? We sit up here and we talk about it all the time, but I failed as a team leader. He goes, me and my wife spent one weekend together at a bed and breakfast for all of last year. That was it. Because he didn't put it in his calendar. Life took over. And that's really, at the end of the day, all this money that we hope to make, 120, 180, whatever the number is, who cares? I'm dead serious about it. Who cares? The real question on the money is, how does it change your life? Right? That's what it's all about. It's about our family. It's about basically being independent people. And 75, 80% of you guys, because I know your background, like me, you came from a corporate world. But it's only so much you control at the end of the day. Mergers, layoffs, all that kind of crazy stuff. Here you finally control your destiny. But you have to have that in balance with your family. Okay? So always put in anything family related. What is Red Day? Hopefully you guys got this down. John.
Get back to the community.
When is Red Day?
May 10th.
May 10th. You know this one. Absolutely. May 10th. Another great thing that we do in Keller Williams that nobody else does. Okay? Here we are, the largest real estate company in the world. And we close all of our offices nationally and internationally, and we do a day of charity work. There's a sign-up sheet up front, if you haven't already done it, for May 10th, if you're available. We have a morning shift that goes from roughly 9 to noon, and an afternoon shift that goes from roughly 1 to 4. And what it is we are going to do Doylestown Food Bank. Everything from gardening, physically gardening, to painting, to electrical type stuff, to just cleaning up the place for the Doylestown Food Bank. It's a great thing to give back, and that's how we're different. So it's also nice just to get out of the office, and instead of talking about all the fun things that we're talking about, like lead generation, just to hang out with some of the coworkers. You could also order a t-shirt. It's $10. You have to have a check for some reason, but it's $10 to order a t-shirt. But you could sign up right there and pay for it on that time. But a great thing that's out there on Red Day. And that's a great thing. It's really important, if you really think about it. What's an ALC? Does anybody know what an ALC is? This is laughter. I'm not sure why, but
I'm a skier, so.
What's that?
I'm a skier, so.
Okay. Non-skiing terms. Besides my 3 veterans, anybody?
The leadership council.
Good. Agent Leadership Council. This is something, again, that you're probably not familiar with. It's on our calendar, or well, it should be on our calendar this month it was a late edition. But we usually do the ALC
Second Thursday of every month.
second Thursday of every single month, okay? And what it is in Bernadette, I'm glad Bernadette's here because she just taught me exactly what it means because I was using something slightly different. But the ALC is the top 25, first of all, you have to be the top 25% of all agents in this office in volume. And what you do is you go to the team leader, Tim, and say that you want to be part of the ALC. And the ALC, then they have to fill out all this immense paperwork and all this type of stuff to make sure their commitment's there. And what they do is there's 9 people on the ALC, and they come up with a lot of policies, the procedures of the office, what we're doing. And Tim, myself, Bernadette, quote-unquote management here in the office, we listen to them. That's completely different than almost every place else. Like when I was vice president of sales and marketing for a lot of the companies I was with, so basically the way that worked at K-Obnanian Homes is basically, I had a division president, Barry. Barry would make something up, it would flow downhill to me. I'd put my little saying on it, it'd go down to my reps. And really we were getting it all from Red Bank, New Jersey, corporate, that would be given to Barry. It all worked down. Here, the way that it works with the Agent Leadership Council is they come up with a large amount of the way that we work when we do Ignite, Red Days, all these different councils that are out there. They come up with it, and we follow it. The cool thing for you guys is you could attend any one of these. I'm not a member. I can't be a member. Me and Bernadette are both not members, but every single time we're hanging out in the back listening. You guys could check this out. If you ever had a problem or an issue, you go to one of these 9 ALC members, tell them about the problem, and they bring it up. And if you don't know who the ALC is, as soon as you walk into the office where the mailboxes are, there's a whole bunch of pictures there. And there are the pictures of all the people that are in the ALC. It's also, we go over all the financials for this office. How many places do that? If you want to know how we did, financially speaking, last month, you come to this meeting, it's open to everybody, and you can check it out. And it's for this office, only for this office. So be aware that it's out there, as I am running by 3 minutes behind. Lastly, 411. If you don't have a goal, you need a goal. Again, about 80% of you I met with one-on-one for a half an hour. And I asked you the question, what is your goal? Okay? What a 411 is the one portion is, I want to sell 12 homes a year, EX. The next one, on a monthly basis, that breaks down to 1 a month. The 4 portion, what are the 4 things I need to do to sell 1 a month? Okay? The thing is, you've got to come up with a goal. Because if you don't have a goal, you're going to be kind of in trouble. All right? And last 2 things for you, and we're then done. Group sessions. One thing that will be happening very soon is, especially, as you know, with the productivity program, the way that it works is the first 2 or 4 deals, depending on how you came in. You're working with Mary directly to help on the first 2 deals. Everybody who's working with Mary, I'm also going to start doing group coaching sessions. So when we talk about all this stuff, this is great. But it's going to be like, okay, Beth 1, I'm still like that better. Beth 1, okay, basically what have you done in the last week to kind of move you to your goal? Dan, what have you done? Eric, what have you done? Beth 2, what have you done? The point is, we're all in the same boat together so we can learn from each other. Okay? But it's a way to start getting something and start getting more creative ideas. It's great to talk about this, theoretical stuff, but it's better to put it into practical terms of what we're doing out there in the field. That's why I was using a couple people. What have you done, Will, wherever Will has disappeared to, on gardening, et cetera, et cetera. So that's going to be coming very soon. And then the other part is photographer. Just so everybody knows, we're working with a photographer. We're still looking at 2 or 3 different people because I don't think we've made an official decision on that one guy yet. Frank, okay, absolutely. So do know that we have, for headshots, we're going to have somebody coming into the office to take headshots. It's about $55, give or take. It has to still be finalized. But it's about $55 to take headshots, professional headshots, which is a lot better quality than JCPenney. And we're going to be doing that once a month consistently, so if you need the headshots, we could basically go in that direction. The only thing I mentioned on that is if you are looking at doing a headshot, because the agreement that I have with these 2 or 3 different companies, that once we decide on who they are, we have to have at least 3 people who show interest in it. And they'll come in like the first Monday of a month and just hang out here and take your professional photographs. So that's it. I apologize for running 6 minutes late, but I thank you for your time. I will send out the PowerPoints. Make sure you have signed up on that piece of paper, and I will be the last person to leave today. Thank you, and thank you, Adam.